Good day. Welcome to Mayorkings TV News. I am Matu Okwemitorishe, and here are the headlines. Ubasani reassures parents of 16-year-old teenager killed in Zaria of justice. Civil servants threaten to shut down defaulting states. Kayari urges military to sustain onslaught against crude oil theft. Nigerian youths demand more government action on development challenges. Federal government to lose 188 billion naira on food import waiver. Inflation rate rises for the first time this year, 2.2%. Olarinwaju ready for high pressure in Eyimba's job. Now the news in details. The Kaduna State Governor, Senator Ubasani, has reassured of his administration's commitment to seeking justice for the 16-year-old teenager killed by a soldier during the hunger protest in Zaria. Recalls that a 16-year-old boy, Ishmael Mohammed, was shot during a violent hunger protest in Zaria by a soldier while security operatives were enforcing the 24-hour curfew imposed by the Kaduna State government. Recall that Governor Ubasani had sent a delegation to the parents of the deceased in Zaria, extended condolences for the sudden death of their beloved son, and promised that the state government will ensure justice for the late victim. In a meeting with the father of the deceased, Ishmael Mohammed, Governor Ubasani further reaffirmed of his commitment to ensuring that justice prevails. The Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, ASCSN, has threatened to cripple the activities of states that refuse to implement the 70,000 new national minimum wage. President of the association, Shehu Mohammed, gave the threat yesterday during the association's 5th Quadrennial Delegates Conference in Lagos, where he emerged as the new president. He urged state governments to implement the new wage to improve the standard of living of their citizens, since the new income of the state governments have continued to rise following enhanced allocation from the Federal Account Allocation Committee (FAAC). Mohammed urged the states could achieve this by reducing wastages and blocking leakages of government funds, advising states to embrace the policy by indexing income to correspond with the rate of inflation. ASCSN new president, the most important priority is now to address the issue of the new minimum wage by constituting a committee to address the consequential adjustments towards implementation and the strategies to ensure workers have a living wage in Nigeria. Earlier, the Secretary General of the association, Joshua Apebo, urged that following the increase in allocation from the Federal Account Allocation Committee (FAAC), since the removal of fuel subsidy, the state governors should immediately implement the new minimum wage to improve the standard of living of their citizens. The group CEO of Nigerian National Petroleum Company (NNPC), Mele Kyari, has called on the military to sustain war against crude oil theft and pipeline vandalization. He expressed delight that the current onslaught against the menace has yielded improved growth in the nation's crude oil production. In a statement issued by the Chief Corporate Commissions Officer, NNPC Limited, Olufemi Sonaye, he said that Kyari made the appeal when he received in audience the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, who led senior military officers on a courtesy visit to the NNPC towers in Abuja on Tuesday. Kyari commended General Musa and his team for their unwavering commitment to securing the nation's critical hydrocarbon assets, especially in the Niger Delta region in recent months, saying that the achievements were not only crucial to Nigeria but also to the global energy community. He expressed optimism that the CDS and his team would deliver on the presidential mandate to mitigate security-related challenges affecting the nation's crude oil production. Responding, General Musa explained that the visit was intended to reintroduce the monitoring team that would be responsible for interfacing with the company and other stakeholders in the oil-producing regions to secure the nation's critical hydrocarbon infrastructure. The CDS also said the military would sustain the onslaught and analyze the troops' capabilities to enhance their performance and bolster productivity. The CDS stressed the need to ramp up production for a prosperous economy and reassured collaboration with intelligence agencies, private security, state governments, and host communities for enhanced performance. Nigerian youths have called on the government to take urgent action to address the country's pressing development challenges, citing a lack of opportunities and disconnection between leaders and young people. Speaking at an International Youth Day event in Abuja, youth emphasized the need for government to prioritize education, employment, climate action, and gender equality. They noted that the current generation of leaders had various opportunities when they were young, but have not provided the same for the current generation. The event, organized by the Network of Youth for Sustainable Initiative (NG Youth SDGs) in partnership with Oxfam in Nigeria, brought together over 300 youth and stakeholders to demand action from governments. G-Youth SDGs Program Manager Okpeyemi Okundiji emphasized that Nigeria is on track to achieving youth-related SDGs but needs to intensify action. She noted that the event aimed to drive momentum towards achieving the SDGs by recognizing and amplifying the efforts of youths making tangible impacts in their community. Now on the business news. The federal government may forfeit 188.37 billion worth of revenue due to the duty waiver granted for staple foods importation in 6 months. The Nigeria Customs Services announced on Tuesday. It also announced that the country spent 3.82 trillion naira on the importation of wheat, beans, rice, and maize between 2020 and 2023. In his speech, the forfeiture represents the government's commitment to prioritizing food security over short-term revenue goals. On July 8, 2024, the federal government announced a 150-day duty-free import window for food commodities to ensure a reduction in food inflation in Nigeria. The food commodities include maize, ox brown rice, wheat, and cowpeas. The government also collaborated with states to expand land cultivation across the country. Consequently, the government suspended duties, tariffs, and tax for the importation of certain food commodities through land and sea borders. Giving updates on the directive, Adeniyi explained that the government's initiatives, while crucial for addressing the nation's food security challenges, have significant implications for the Customs Service, according to him, as the agency responsible for trade, facilitation, and revenue collection at the borders. The NCS finds itself at the intersection of these policies and their practical implementation. He pointed out that the most immediate and substantial implication is the revenue forfeiture, as the government has committed to making food more accessible and affordable for its citizens. Now on the foreign news. The UK's inflation rate has risen for the first time this year, official figures show. Overall prices rise by 2.2% in the year to July, slightly above the Bank of England's target of 2%, where the rate had been since May. A rise was widely predicted and is due to prices of gas and electricity falling by less than they did a year before. The increase is also less than many economists had expected. The latest figures mean that prices are now rising faster across the UK than in previous months, but still at a slower pace than in 2022 and 2023, when the households were hit especially by hard by higher energy food bills. The Bank of England expects inflation, which measures the rate at which prices rise, to go up to 2.75% in the coming months before falling before 2% next year. Another set of inflation figures as well as employment wages data will be released before the next rate setting meeting on September 19th. The bank had put up interest rates to tackle soaring inflation, but last month cut them to 5% from 5.25%, the first reduction since the start of the pandemic. Now on the sports news. Yemi Olarinwaju has said he understands the pressure of managing a top club like Eyimba, but he is determined to make his stay at the club a success. Olarinwaju was confirmed as the substantive head coach of the Aba Giants on Tuesday. The former Golden Eaglets assistant coach signed a one-year contract with the two-time African champions. The 32-year-old declared he's looking forward to a successful stay at the club. Eyimba is currently rebuilding their squad following the departure of 7 players at the end of last season. Olarinwaju acknowledged the task ahead but said the new signees have the quality to take the club to greater heights. Meanwhile, Olarinwaju's objectives for the upcoming season include securing a top position in the Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) and advancing to the group stages of the CAF Confederation Cup. Recap on our headlines. Uba Sani reassures parents of 16-year-old teenager killed in Zaria of justice. Civil servants threaten to shut down defaulting states. Kayari urges military to sustain onslaught against crude oil theft. Nigerian youths demand more government action on development challenges. Federal government to lose 188 billion naira on food import waiver. Inflation rate rises for the first time this year, 2.2%. Olarinwaju ready for high pressure in Eyimba's job. That was the news as edited by Emanuela Timiala. I am Matu Okwemitorishe. Thanks for listening.